Welcome to Masters of Self University podcast, your highest source of sacred truths and universal wisdom. Hello, beautiful souls. I'm Rachel Fiori, mystic, spiritual teacher, psychic healer, and founder of Masters of Self University. Join our journey of soul transformation as we deep dive into this latest episode.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Masters of Self University podcast. I'm Ellie Lee.
And I'm Morley.
And we are so excited today because we have our first certified, the first ever certified Masters of Self University coach. Please welcome Emily Armstrong.
Hello, hi. Hi, lovely people. Hello. Good to be here.
Emily, where are you speaking with us from?
I am currently in Bath, which is in Somerset in southwest England. Yay.
Beautiful. Yes.
UK, hence the accent.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's pretty late at night here.
Well, thank you so much for being here with us. I think the fun fact about you is that you are the first ever certified Masters of Self University coach. So could you tell us a little bit about how you found Rachel? Because it sounds like you found Rachel before we all found Rachel. And what made you take the leap?
Yeah, great question. So I found Rachel just through a podcast. I was having a listen to something I regularly listen to and, not thinking much of it. I'm a regular listener of that podcast and, I just get to the next one and I heard her voice and I stopped. I was like, wow, this needs some attention. So it was summertime. I put it on in my garden. I relaxed. I took her all in, and it really stopped me in my tracks. I started to think, wow, she's really got something here. It was a real felt sense that she was speaking a lot of truth, and I've got a pretty good radar for truth. And yeah, it was just at that moment I thought I've got to explore this offering, her work. I need to look into Rachel. I need to find out more about her. I've got to speak to her. So I found myself applying for the certification without much of a thought. It was just like my fingers were doing the typing. This was a thing, it was happening. And I just thought, well, I get my chance to have a chat with Rachel, find out more. And I had this overwhelming sense, not being of the world of kind of mysticism or any kind of energetic stuff. I was just a very classically trained coach. I just got a sense that I'd done the course already. And I said to Rachel in my application, I just know I've done this already. It's the weirdest feeling, but it's as though I am speaking to you now having done it. And she was like, well, let's get to know each other because this isn't so weird a feeling. And actually, as it turns out, it's been absolutely the most life-changing thing I've ever done. So yeah, it was how I found Rachel, and it just kind of rolled after that. I was absolutely in from the get-go. There was no question in my mind. I just knew it would unfold and it would be great for me, and it has been.
Beautiful. I think me and Danny can relate to that as well, because the first time you hear Rachel, you don't go, okay, it's just a woman talking. It hits the depths of your soul. And so we all got to the same place of, hearing the same thing. Something I really wanted to ask you was this, it sounds like it was almost like a remembrance for you, like this work.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I still don't have the language for all of this. I came from a very ordinary, just, not that in touch with spiritual side. But I had started having all sorts of visions, and in particular, one was kind of a full sensory. I've got to move to Bath. I was there already. I was already in my future. I was already experiencing what was going on in my future in great amounts of detail. And then I was like, oh, what happened? That was about 10 minutes worth of vision, and I was just in the shower. My visions come in the shower often. And just all these things kept dropping in, and I couldn't really ignore them anymore. And yeah, it's definitely been an interesting journey, and one where I've opened up much more to that side of the world, realizing there is actually so much more than we think out there. There really is. Understatement. So yeah.
So you were originally coaching, was this like personal development work, going into like more like, was it like more lifestyle coaching, or what kind of coaching were you doing before?
Yeah, it started off as career coaching. My background is in HR, very kind of straight-laced and very policy driven, very structured, very corporate world, and learned huge amounts in that time about people, about how people operate and what makes people tick. And I just love development. I really do. It's just, it's my thing. I like self-development. I've got a really strong core value of growth. And I like to help others do that too, to support them in growing. So it felt like a natural next step to move into coaching and to set up my own business and do that full time. But it was very much career-based, and then it moved much more into the life space when the pandemic hit and people's needs changed. There was a refocus on like, oh, right, it's not all about work. There is actually a life I'm living, and it's now had a massive number of distractions removed. It's like, oh, I'm in my house all day long now, and there's things that are coming up I can't not see, and I can't ignore, or I can't distract away from. So the needs changed of all my clients, and many of them. And so I adapted, and then realized, I probably need to do a bit more life stuff myself in terms of, extending my personal development and reaching into some of the things that were triggering me in sessions to, prompting me to think, okay, it's probably an area that I could evolve in. My clients teach me as much as I help them. And I was kind of on the lookout for something that would help me coach in a way that felt more integrous. I was showing up a bit more, having walked my talk.
Right.
And that's basically when Rachel's work dropped in. So it was just perfectly timed, as all these things are.
Very
and what would you say the like big differences from how you were coaching before to how you're coaching now?
Yeah, good question. I am coming from a place of strength, 100%. It's in no way faked or pretend, or there's never a moment where I'm not fully present with the client now. And I was a good coach before, don't get me wrong. But this is a level of elevation that is it's way beyond what is most commonly found out there in the coaching world. And there are a lot of coaches out there these days. It's given me a level of confidence to guide the clients that are those, and pretty much all of them are struggling with different things. Life has its challenges. Even if you're in a place where you have been on a healing journey for a long time, or you've been on an evolution journey for a long time, stuff is still coming at you, because that's life. And so it's changed my confidence levels dramatically. I come from a place of strength. I am comfortable in myself. And I mean that wholeheartely. That is not something we have to like fake till we make. It's a genuine place of it's a new foundation for me that I come from. It's just, and it changes the experience. I can see it in the feedback that comes back now. It's very tangible, because I work with a lot of organizations as well as individuals. It's a really tangible thing. So it's not just me feeling different, the client experience is something different.
Wow.
I want to go into the little bit of the mysticism part of this program, because I think when people hear, I don't even say mystical life coach sometimes, because I'm sure and maybe that's my program and then their programs run, but whatever. But I wonder people who enter this program who have no idea of spirituality or energy or anything, like, were you at that place? And then did you go in and were you just like hit with all this mystical knowledge and information? Because I did a lot of mysticism work before joining this program. And so I can understand when Rachel speaks, but then sometimes I look around, I'm like, does everybody understand this language? So did you like have an awakening as you were going through the program in deeper into your spiritual path?
Yeah, I mean, great question. Yes, is the short answer. I did, as I've mentioned, not from that kind of, aware of it. Definitely kind of dipping my toe in a few things. Definitely into a bit of breath work, and trying that out. But I think the best thing, I was actually really receptive. I'm pretty open-minded about things in general, and I'm pretty inquisitive as a person. I don't want to be closed off to anything, even if I'm not sure. You can still be open and receptive and learn. My God, did I learn? Rachel's very clear in her teachings.
Yes.
And so there was no, messing about. It's very much, this is the teaching, and she will often, and I found this throughout the program, that teachings would be given, and then 2 or 3 classes later, I'd be like, and the teaching would come again. I'd be like, oh wow, I got it this time. Like it landed, and in a way where I felt it. It wasn't just up here. It wasn't just in my head. It wasn't like, oh yeah, I can intellectually get that. It would land in a way that was kind of embedded. And you get it on a deeper level. So yeah, there's a mix of coaches in regards to receptiveness to that. Like, I know most people are quite open. But for me, it was just being open. It was just, let's see what I can learn from this, and let's see what other worldviews I can form. And my God, has it been fun? Like, it's not like we are doing magic tricks or, it's nothing like that. If people get the wrong idea. I mean, I am a person that genuinely had to Google the word mysticism to fully appreciate the logical side of what is this thing? I don't, and yet it's quite for me, it's even hard to articulate, because you go through such a journey week after week with this program, that the felt experience of, so the energetic side, learning about that, learning about how you can communicate with other, mine was far reaching. I've gone from 0.0 to 60 miles an hour, a moth spoke to me. That's the sort of level. I know. And I'm like, this is happening. This is actually happening. And it didn't speak. It's like,
Yes.
you can read the energy of it, and you interpret it without doing anything as words. And you're like, okay, that just happened. And you move on. And then more stuff happens. Yeah, and it's just been a ride. It really has. And the whole way through, I've just reserved judgment and been like, I'll go with it. I'll just go with it and see what happens. And it's blown me away. No going back. Definitely not.
Yeah. I think it's blown all of us away. I don't think, we can talk about this program forever, but it's not until you really experience it do you really understand the levity of this. It's just so insane.
Yeah. It is. It truly is. Yeah.
I just got out of class today, our final class, and so excited. Even I was in class, right, and I'm there, and I'm watching other people coach and be coached, and I got into 2 wounds of my own without even having to be coached by anyone, because the skills that I've learned through this course is I just have to show, as things are coming up in me, obviously they're coming up in other people, and I'm watching it, and it's triggering something in me, and that's just a window for me to go in and heal. And it's even as I'm watching other people getting coached and getting their healing, I'm having these insane healings myself. It's
Mm.
just that the limits to where this work can go are just they're so far beyond what I first thought they were going to be. It's so
Totally.
beautiful. Yeah.
Totally.
Indeed. And you make a really good point there. It's the group element too. You're
Mhm.
very much in this like container where that it's understood that you're safe. You can say what you need to, which you need to, because you're going deep.
Yeah.
And there is some healing that I don't think you could get. You know, I've sat in many different scenarios in my journey where there's nothing quite like this. This group scenario is just, it's really fantastic. I've really enjoyed it.
It really allows you to see your own stuff in other people. And, you know, as you see someone else going through the same thing that you feel, it reminds you that, well, I'm just human and I feel that too. So why am I being so hard on myself? Because I'm showing them love and compassion. So why can't I do that for me?
Yeah.
And so it creates like a lot of growth, just listening to people's stories. And for anyone listening, we've got a men's group that's coming up in May called the Divine Heart of Man. And I'm sure down the road soon we'll be doing a women's group too. But I just know for now that's in the pipes.
Yeah.
So if anyone's listening that's interested, check out Masters of Self University and think about joining the group, because the group setting, as we say, it's powerful. And you really get to see you're not the only one. That was when I was going through depression. I was like convinced that I was the only one that had ever felt this and that no one else would ever understand. And then eventually the more and more I spoke up about it and reading, you're like, oh, I guess I'm not the only one. So it helps. It really helps.
And I think what's really beautiful too is how vulnerable everybody wants to show up. You know, you join this program if you're serious. You know, this is not for somebody who's like lazy about it and don't know. Like, this is for the hardcore people who are ready to go in and get to the other side. And so you being a woman, right, and Rachel being a woman, and us, you know, being mentored by this powerful woman, how has that kind of affected you being a coach and you being a leader in your own field?
Yeah, thank you for that one, because there is something I think really needed in having a woman coming from that level of strength and confidence and
power.
The sheer power. We need mentors and teachers like that. We need role models. We need to be able to see that in people, to know that that's possible, and to learn from someone that's doing it, that's there. Rachel has actually helped me heal a great deal of wounded feminine energy that I held, which I think many women hold, and it's not spoken about. It's just not spoken about. We're just, in general, and I generalize, but everyone's trying to play in the man's world, and we become competitive, turn on each other. There's so much of that, and it's not talked about very often. Certainly not in my experience. So Rachel's really helped me heal some of those really deep wounds that stopped me from forming connections with women that were deeper than just nice chats and a little bit of lighthearted friendship. And I've formed some really solid friendships with women in the Masters of Self group. Outside of that, because I relocated from London to Bath 18 months ago, and it was like a whole new community. I've never felt so secure with other women before in my entire life, ever.
Wow.
It's given me such a gift in just that respect, let alone everything else.
Yeah. I mean, Rachel is no regular woman.
No, that's for sure.
She's not. She will light a fire up your ass and then double that fire. It's beautiful to witness and beautiful to see. What do you think it is really about MSU? For people at home who are kind of tinkering on that edge of like, should I do it? Should I not? What if it's just like another program? What if what these people are saying is just not that real? What would you say to those people who are on the teetering on the edge?
Yeah, I mean, from someone that's, a bit of a searcher and explorer, I've done a lot of things. I'm sure I speak for a lot of people, that's the case. A lot of people are looking for a long time, trying lots of things, spending a lot of money. And this is the most original work I've ever come across. Most transformational. I mean, in such a short space of time. There's things I've been, doing for years that just don't even touch this. And the program's 6 months. It's if you're ready to strap it in and ride the wave of it, because it really is quite intense, in a beautiful way. It's the place to go. It's so, to your point earlier, it's really hard to articulate in many ways. I need to get better at this, because it's that felt sense when you get in the room and you're going through it and you're like, I can't. So, some of it feels difficult to even describe in words, like words feel limiting in many ways. But you don't have to do anything else. You could just do this. Literally.
Yes.
You could just keep doing this and you will show up differently in every aspect of your life.
Right.
Agreed.
Period. Just full stop. It's as simple as that. The work is original. I've never come across it anywhere else, ever. And just, Rachel is, she's someone that creates this space that, where you can really share. You can get deep, to your point earlier, Ellie, you do get super deep, like you've never done before. And Rachel she does something. There's some magic going on there. Like she makes that straight from the second we're all in the room. So just don't think on it too much. Just go for it. We spend a long time talking ourselves out of things, and this you really don't want to talk yourself out of. Really, it's life-changing, and that is truth.
Truth seems to be a common trend. It was something that you mentioned earlier. I think that was what Rachel really spoke to, was this truth, right? And are there any other like big truths that you found throughout the program that really hit you and you're like,
so I think, that just being able to, I mean, there's so many, I can't even, like the truth bombs. I mean, you listen to any of Rachel's videos, it's just like constant, any of her social media, just check that out. It just to get a flavor of Rachel, how she teaches, she is the same, whatever's being put out, it's Rachel, and so, there is just numerous, countless truths being revealed. Like, I think one of the things that was quite pertinent for me was that there's no set way of doing this. Like, there is a structure and we do follow certain ways of doing things, which obviously unfold as the program goes on in kind of bite-sized pieces. It's easy to kind of absorb and integrate it as you go along. But the fact that it's quite an organic path for each person, everyone's going to experience something different, and that's okay. And to trust your intuition, what is going on for you is the right thing for you, even if it feels like it's going at a different pace from another person, or it's a bit left field from another person, or there's reassurance, comfort, stability in that. Just being just being able to kind of know that we're also these programs, these things that the things that are driving a lot of our actions, decisions, everything. They're not us. They are behaviors, things we've picked up along the way, templates, essentially, things that we have done to survive in many ways, because when you're a kid, it feels life or death, everything. Everything, small t trauma, capital T trauma, the lot. You're a kid and it's, cognitive level, everything's survival. So it doesn't have to be you. Those things aren't your identity. They are not part of you. You can compartmentalize, you can see them for what they are, you can build an acute self-awareness around them, and then you can detach from them because they're not serving you anymore. And you can be self-honoring in thank you for doing what you did. And just, I mean, multi-layered around understanding programs, how they're not you, how you can detach from them, how building an acute self-awareness and doing the healing alongside is just it's there's just so much that, it's just littered with truth bombs. There's just so much.
Yes. If you watch any of the recordings, I'm usually freaking out on mute.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh my God, like, yeah, I'm like, like going crazy. She drops the mic many times, many times. I think for me, really understanding the micro is part of the macro, that we are all, whatever we emit out is part of the collective. And truly, I really truly understand oneness now. And I think that's been really huge for me, because you hear about it and you're like, yeah, we're all one, but it's like until you really understand it. And I also think like the power of love and heart energy has been so mind-blowing for me. I know for you, Danny, he's really figured out like how to get to the heart.
That's what it's all about. It's all about dropping in and opening up that huge center of love and joy and light that we have.
Yeah, there is so much available to us in there. Like I feel like we should be teaching kids this stuff, like get them early, get it in there early, know. It's just like this, like it's as important as breathing and sleeping. Like this is emotional hygiene. Like it's so physical. And what's available to us in here, because we're diverted up here the entire time in our minds because of culture, of the way work works, and a lot of the time we're in fear up here. And what's available to us here is just to be able to tap into that and to have the skills to do that now, anytime. Wow, that's a different life you're leading. It really is.
Yes.
Did you realize? Always talk about.
Yeah, go ahead. No, you were about to say what I'm going to say.
We always talk about skill set and how it's like this program and what we teach at Masters of Self really is a skill that you learn for your whole life. And you get to go deeper with a coach. The goal is, at least for what I've seen, is, you work with one of us like certified mystical life coaches to get in and heal through all of your wounds from your life up until now. And then you've learned those skills, and then you're ready to go off and live your life. And then all you have to do is just work on what's happening to me now. And then you're living in the now. You're not living in the past. You're not living as the 7-year-old you when a girl or boyfriend pisses you off. You're not living as the 6-year-old you when your mother shouts at you for something. You're getting to be in the here and now, and like you get to learn this skill set that is with you forever. And that's why it's so important for people to do, and they just get out of these wounds that we carry and these karmic patterns that we're trapped in. Have you seen any big like patterns of your own behavior so far, Emily, where like something that you've done and then like all your life, and then now you've encountered this work, you've been able to like, it's just the behavior stopped because the wound's gone? Has anything happened like that?
Plenty. One of the biggest things is being shut down to relationships in general. Just being presenting what I felt I should be presenting. I in class, it came up as my code word was chameleon, and it wasn't done out of. It was done for survival. It was like, who do you need me to be? Basically, okay, I'll be that person. That's great. And I got really good at it because I'm a HSP, a highly sensitive person. I already knew that. Before Rachel's work, I learned a lot more about that in this course. Wow, lots of light bulb moments there, and many reassuring and connective moments there. And Yeah, and I don't have to do that anymore, and it took a while, in the 6 months, it was a process. It wasn't like, bam, one class, the wound comes up, it's done. It's like layers of the onion. You keep going, you keep going. And that one was ready. That was ready to go. I was ready for it to go. It's so much hard, like the effort that requires to just contort yourself the whole time, and you're double checking on yourself the whole time. Is that it? No, exhausting. So that was by far, a standout for me. I don't need to be that anymore, and it's actually okay to be me. And me is pretty awesome in a genuine way. I'm not because I've heard this. I say this, and I'm like, I've heard this from so many places, and I'm like, no, I mean it. I mean it. I bloody well mean it. It is. It's such a relief. And it's so much better. My relationships are strong. There are so many more of them that mean something. And my life is so much richer because of it. And I'm not tired all the time. It's so great. So that definitely a standout one, that one for sure.
I mean, you're sitting in a room full of HSPs right now, so we understand.
Hello, my fellows. Yes, and there's more of us than we think. I think, those that identify with HSP or are not really aware of it, we keep ourselves hidden. We get really good at just keeping small.
Super good.
Yeah, really good. And not showing our true selves. And, we have great skills to be able to show up how someone else wants. But it's a wonderful space to be in. So for that alone, I'm grateful.
Yeah, for so long, I hated my emotions. Like, I hated how sensitive I was. I hated how I felt everything. I hated that I was just so different. And I think the whole journey has made me see, like, oh my God, like, it's so special. It's so special how much we can feel.
Yeah, it really is. It is a superpower level. It really is.
Yeah.
Because actually, when you go through the pain, this is one of my realizations, you go through the pain, it feels pretty good afterwards. Like you go through that. If you keep going, you're like, oh God, this feels amazing. I mean, it takes a couple of goes. Obviously, at first you're like, oh my God, the whole time. But but then actually it gets really, you start to feel this aliveness on the other end. And when you're a HSP, I mean, you're alive. Like it, the sensitivities are high. So, I'm in a crowd, I'm like, oh, it's just too much for me. But when I'm in joy, when I'm in like that raw alive, it's way up. And so I'm so grateful for that heightened sensitivity, for just the access to awesomeness, to joy. I mean, I've had moments of like literally pure joy where you're in a different world. It's, it's like a musical down the street.
Yes.
It's great. So I'm very grateful for being HSP, but I know how to manage it now. And that's what it's given me. I'm much more aware of what it is, how for me, what my sensitivities are, how to manage those sensitivities so that I'm not overloaded, my nervous system's in check, how to, especially with coaching, to get rid of the energy of certain things that come up in session. So I'm not overloading. I'm just so many skills in that regard, which again is, it's the quality of my life is greatly improved.
Yeah, I think a huge problem for me was that I was just absorbing everybody all the time. And I had no idea how to detach or anything. So I was just carrying everybody. And then I would spiral into like all these holes of like depression and anxiety and not understand myself and all these things. And I think having the tools to know how to detach is a game changer.
Huge. A big thing that's changed in my life around this, as another HSP myself, is that previously I would find myself around certain people and I would be feeling their energy and I would kind of be like, oh, I can't deal with that. I can't deal with them. And now that I've understanding this work and understanding that that's them, and like, I don't have to take that on if I don't want to, but I am going to feel it. So all I need to do for me is to just go in and clear me, get into my power, and then they don't have to, I don't have to take it all on. It's allowing me to thrive in previous relationships that I probably would have had to like push away or walk away from because I was too sensitive, and I'd be like, well, I can't hang around with this person because they make me feel like this, or I can't do this in life because it makes me feel like this. Whereas now it's like, well, I'm empowered to like, well, if they make me feel that way, let me go in and heal what I need to heal, clear, and then I'm able to just, give them love. And it's just lovely how even this work translates to even to friendships that you may never have had because you weren't able to accept them and their wounding and their, whatever it is whatever energy is coming off them. Now you're able to like, okay, I can stand in this and I can still love you. I can love you for that. So it's beautiful.
It is. And it's great for, family members, extended family members, like people that you're seeing regularly that, you want in your life, you love them, friendships are one thing. To your point, you can kind of, that person's probably not for me. It's for the wrong reasons, because obviously you're just oversensitized, and actually you could have a really rich relationship with that person if you know how to manage your stuff. But with relationships, which are very complex, with family and especially family of origin, just being able to manage my sensitivities as a HSP, being the only HSP that I'm aware of in my family, and showing up so differently because of that. They haven't changed anything, and why should they? They're all good. They've all got their stuff, but they're all good. Why should they? And I have seen such an improvement in all of those relationships just because I'm showing up differently, just because I'm managing my energy. I'm not taking in like a sponge, as I usually had, all of the stuff that everyone's got, because everyone's got stuff going on. Everyone's always going to, you can't expect people to not have their things, but you can clear yourself. You can self-manage, that's in your power. And this has really helped me understand how to do that.
Right.
And just the need for consistency as well.
Yeah.
It's a consistent practice. It has to be done like you would shower in the mornings, or evenings, or, it's that needed. So,
yeah, it really comes down to the power of love. It is really comes because, you've been where they've been at. And now you've gotten to the next place and the next place and the next place. So you could meet them there, because we are discovering love within ourselves. So then that just shoots out of us and we just show up completely differently. And it's good for me to hear that too, because I X out friends like this, and that. I'm like, you don't get me. You don't understand me. Goodbye. And it actually tears me apart. And I'm actually bypassing the hard work of how do I show up in love in these relationships and not just be like deuces and I'm out, So it's huge. It's huge. The last question I wanted to ask you about being an HSP and being a coach, how do you feel like those powers come into play now when you have your clients and you can feel it all?
Yeah. So, I mean, I've always seen it as a gift, even before I could manage it properly. It's just so vital to coaching, being able to pick up on the small cues, the nuances in the tone, the ability to sense, even if the person is giving out a completely different expression, body language, that there is an energy shift that you can feel, because I can feel energy. I have that ability. Little did I know that before, was not conscious of it. So I can walk past someone in the street and I know if they're really sad. Like I just know, I can feel it. I can literally feel it as I'm walking by someone. And it's really helpful for the coaching space. It's even if it's remote and online, it's palpable. So I have always seen it as a gift. It really benefits the whole experience, me being able to tap in on that level. It helps me coach from an intuitive standpoint. Like I am very much led by, I'm getting a sense of, I'm getting a feeling that, and it's never steered me wrong. And many times people are like, how do you know this? How did you? And I'm like, well, I don't know. It's not me. It's just here, it's, It's just the way it goes. And I am now very much embracing that and becoming more conscious of it and utilizing it in a more efficient way, and just elevating the client experience. And yeah, I'm now able I do my hygiene practice before and after in terms of energy management. It's quick, it's easy, it's not really involved. I don't have to do any major rituals or anything like that. It's like, this is part of the stuff I love about Rachel's work. It's simple. It's not complicated. You've got to put in the hours and the work. You've got to be dedicated. You need consistency. But some of the tools are like, oh, right, great, I can do that. That's done. It's done. I can work that into my life. I'm not having to kind of sit on a meditation cushion for half an hour after I coach everyone and try and get back to my center. No, it's not that. It's straightforward and it works. It's powerful. So yeah, now I'm just better at cleansing before and after.
Beautiful.
Lovely.
Yeah.
I've got one final question, because this is Emily. This is the first time I've got to meet you, a fellow Brit in the course. So honored. I'd love to hear, and I'm sure the audience would, look like, what's your experience about having an American teacher versus being in the UK, and how that translates for you? Because I'm obviously in the US, so it's a little different for me, and I've been here for like 8 years now. So I'd love to hear what it's like from your perspective.
Yeah, great question. I guess for me, I've worked in global organizations since day dot, and I've got global clients. So just having a different kind of, just different time zones, not an issue. And also having someone, the thing is, Rachel's teaching is a universal. Like, it doesn't, even though there might be slight nuances that are a little different, in terms of culture and whatnot, it doesn't matter. It's just not even on the radar. Like, it's the teachings are just, they're for everyone. It doesn't matter your background. Like, if you're human, basically, right on. You essentially qualify. So for me, I've never really given it too much thought, because it's just felt natural from exactly the moment I heard Rachel's voice on that podcast for the first time. She lives in a much warmer, sunnier climate, which I'm very envious of. That's about it. Like, it kind of ends there. I'm like, one day I will get to California. One day I will get to San Diego. It will be, it's a dream on the bucket list. But yeah, I mean, she's just amazing. So
should we all just live in a community together in San Diego and be next door neighbors?
Oh my God, there's been talks. No, you are not the first person to mention that. Like, could we just buy some land and just do it? And I'm like, well, yeah.
There is going to be a physical school one day. I know. I know right now it's online, but one day it will be physical. So maybe we just can be the early investors. How about that?
I'm in. And one day we'll all meet together when circumstances allow. I can't wait for that moment.
Yeah, it's going to be beautiful. I was telling Danny yesterday, like, the reunion of this whole MSU family together is just going to be wild. It's going to be wild. So full of love.
Oh me, yeah. And like, in levels you can't describe. Just so just, I think there will be many tears. I think there will be just literally like so many long hugs, and you are so bonded with these people. Even those that aren't in your class, because we're all meeting each other. Danny, I'm really sorry we haven't met before. Like, we need to, seriously, let's get some coaching practice in, and let's
let's go.
Yeah, it's just it's so bonding. You're all on the same page, even though completely different backgrounds, different people. Like, it's really genuinely, it's warms my heart. Does.
Yeah, I think you touched on something there, that this work, it doesn't really matter where you come from. It doesn't matter like where you grew up, what skills you have, what skills you haven't got. It doesn't matter your skin color, your hair color, your eye color. None of that matters. The important thing matters is we're here to do the work. We're here to go in and do that inward journey and find peace and love and joy, and that's all that it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Emily, for those people who are listening to you right now and they're like, I want Emily as a coach, any words for them? First of all, you go to mastersofselfuniversity.com to set up a consultation. But Emily, any words for anybody who wants to be coached by you?
Just get in there quick. Yeah, no, I'm there for anyone that wants to engage in this. Seriously, we're as a bunch of coaches, I think I can speak for all of us in saying we are dedicated to people's growth, to people's healing. I've dedicated my entire career to the development of others. I love this stuff, and this is something I can really get behind. It's work I believe in, and it comes through in the coaching experience. I will be there for anyone that is struggling in ways that feel like they're all consuming. They've tried everything. This is a space where, you know, we will be a partnership. There will be no power dynamic here. There will be very much just a guiding, helping hand throughout all of this from a place of, I have done the work, I am walking my talk, I understand it at a deep level, and I am so open to any person that wants to come forward and do this work. I have so much reverence for the people that have put themselves in this position to just, I mean, like, it's incredible. So anyone that wants to give it a shot, wants to have a chat, wants to get any questions answered, just book a free consultation online. It's easy done, a couple of steps, and I'd be so happy to speak to anyone in more detail about this.
Beautiful. Any last words, Danny, before we go?
That was really lovely. Thanks for your time, Emily.
Yes.
Thank you.
To everyone at home, subscribe, share this episode, share the love. We're out here spreading light. And till next time, we will see you guys then.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.